You gotta understand what I've been through. Music brought me back to life.
Damn it, Wanda.
This is the new gold rush. No cops, no murder.
Dope game to the rap game.
We gotta bring artillery some real players.
Hey, blood, run that back.
These are life and times of a rider. Life and times of a rider.
What's going on, YouTube? We back at it again with another video here. And yesterday while I was at work, they had ended up dropping a trailer for the drop of SnowFall Saga. And we know this is going to be a spin-off from the whole, SnowFall series. And this will be dropping on September 8th. I think September 8th is a Tuesday. So a Tuesday around like 9 o'clock, which is like kind of different. Because, normally shows drop like on like Fridays or Sundays or something like that, though. So, hey, man, we're going to just jump right into this trailer breakdown of the drop of SnowFall Saga, man. Let's get straight into it. So let's just go over a brief description of what we can be in store from watching the whole series. So Wanda starts this series driven by the belief that West Coast rap has the power to reshape American culture. She will work to put together a rap tag group of geniuses and lead them to the realization of their dreams. To do it, she must navigate the dangerous overlap of the music, street politics, and pulling in those closer to her, Lamar Kinsey and James Kinsey, and pursuing volatile local rapper Artillery, who is already in the tangle with law enforcement. Her internship with former D-Boy turned label owner Daryl D.G. Grant creates opportunity but also deepens tension between Wanda and Leon, who vows to leave the streets for good and chase down his own atonement through his free legal clinic. One key thing to also remember about Wanda: she's a survivor. She beat addiction. Now she focuses on climbing the ladder and being legit, but the streets are still as dangerous as ever. So by just going over a brief detail of how the whole show is going to be, we can almost get the gist of, obviously we know that everything that Wanda has been through, when you watch SnowFall, from the whole drug addiction, her switching sides, causing, havoc all around the damn city. Wanda went through a lot, with them whole, what was it, 6 seasons of SnowFall? She went through a lot, I ain't gonna lie. So we can definitely see like a turn of her character. She want to be more business savvy and she wants to get out the streets. And we also know that Leon is also trying to do the same thing of getting out the streets. But we know that all the shit that, Wanda's gonna be going through in the rap game, because you gotta think, this is the 90s. They was not playing for her in the 90s. It was not how everything is now with cameras and everything like that. Like, they was getting down in the night. And we also got the legendary George Sean right here, who's going to be playing the uncle, who's not going to be, he's not going to be too happy with the whole rap game and the whole decision, because we know that his 2 sons are going to try to be in that, and he knows how dangerous the streets is, and he don't want to see anything happen to his kids. As we come over here to the character DG Daryl Grant, we know obviously he was a D-boy, and then he had turned over, everything over to the record label business. So we already know, if you have watched BMF and you watched that last season, the record label is a real dicey, type of ordeal, because a lot of people, when you have so much power, you can essentially just do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you can just look at all the business execs back in the 90s and listen to all the different beatings and shit like that people went through. Like, that was actually some real shit. So now, as we come over here to another clip, we know that DZ is talking to Wanda, end up telling her, like, look, I hope you have a good time selling CDs on the corner. And we know this is the original plan, Wanda was gonna do, try to come up, to sell CDs on the corner. And essentially, it's gonna be a fallout between these 2 characters. It's gonna be some type of fallout between these 2 characters. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we already know that this DG character is not going to be playing fair at all. He's in the music business. He was a former, drug dealer, so he still got that ruthlessness to him. So it's like, man, what did Wanda do that is going to cause this tension between these 2 characters? Maybe it was some advances that was given to her that she didn't want to take, and we know that this relationship right here is also going to cause tension between Leon and Wanda. We know that this is going to cause tension because we know that Leon is trying to leave all the gangster shit out, and he's trying to start a whole new life. But now that Wanda is going to be dibbling and dabbling into this whole record label business, like the gangs is like really heavy on this shit. So Leon is going to be having to watch her back through all of this shit right here, man. So we're gonna have to just see, dog. Now as we come over here to the character that's named Artillery, we know that Artillery is obviously gang affiliated, and he is obviously a rapper. As you know, like I said before, back in the 90s, rap, Bloods and Crips, being a part of that whole association, back in the 90s in LA, that was a real big thing. And we know that this character is going to also be watched by law enforcement, because we already know, if we read in the description, that he also going to have tension with law enforcement. So it's going to be a lot thrown around with this character right here. We already know this character is a rapper in the gang, and he got law enforcement after him. And what Wanda's going to do with her cousin Lamar, they're going to try to make a track and you know, try to give it to essentially Artillery to see what he feel and see if he like the track, you know, just to get a good feel of it. The one of the worst things to always hear when you in LA and you just walking around, you can just be a regular ass person, is where you from. Once you hear that shit, man, you need to get the fuck out of Dodge. You need to get the fuck out of Dodge. This is the first time we heard this. We know this is gonna be prior to seeing when they first end up walking inside of the whole place with the Bloods, and we know that Wanda's cousin James is not gonna let her go in there by herself, because he already know how the Bloods can get and what type of shit that they can possibly be on. And then we also got James talking to, you know, his brother, basically saying like he don't got no business being in the rap game because of all the shit that, you know, he can possibly get himself into. And we know that his dad also don't want this for him, because we know earlier in the scene, like I was talking about earlier with the George Sean character, these are his two sons, and he's not gonna want his sons to be involved in any type of messy shit like that. With all the different gangs and shootings going on, he just don't want that for his kids. So then if we come over here to this bus scene, once again, we got Lamar sitting on the bus, and obviously it's Crips, and they end up asking him where he's from. And once again, if you get asked that, you need to get your ass out of Dodge, nigga. So they basically end up chasing bro off the damn bus and to basically probably like to another like part of the city or some shit like that. So hey man, shit getting real wicked, bro. And another thing is, you know, when this had came out, I seen a lot of people seeing that, you know, Leon really wasn't in the trailer like that. I think he was in the trailer maybe like three times, maybe 3 to 4 times, like a 2-minute trailer. So a lot of people are making the assumption that could Leon possibly, you know, be a side character to the storyline, and we do not want to see that at all. If we know that he is probably not going to be as much invested, you know, on the rap side, but the whole other side of the, you know, the gangster shit and all the other shit, we need to see, you know, that element and everything like that, because Leon was a like very, very loved character in SnowFall. So hopefully they don't switch up the script and try to, you know, write him as a side character and we don't really see him like that, because that will be a real disappointment. And one last thing before I get done with this trailer breakdown is everybody talking about could we possibly be seeing Franklin inside of the whole spinoff. And I feel like this is damn near like Ghost all over again, but Franklin is actually still alive though. That's the only thing about this shit, and how his character could possibly be, you know, written inside of the show. In my opinion, I feel like they're not going to bring us a new show and they're not going to show us an old character from the last season, because I feel like if Franklin was to come inside, you know, this show, everything else, the whole attention would be off of everybody else's on the show. It would not be, you know, focused on what the focus is going to be, you know, given to us, and that's going to be about rapping in the 90s. I feel like once Franklin come back, that's just going to like overshadow everything else and every other storyline that's going on, because of how much of a, you know, a love character he was to a whole 6 seasons of SnowFall. That was his whole story. So now like bringing him on here will probably, you know, just like it would mess it up, you know, in a sort of a way. I ain't gonna lie, I do want to see him, but I don't want to see him in the first season. Like if we get multiple seasons of this show, I would like to see like a cameo. I don't want to just see like a, you know, him come back and essentially take over the whole storyline. A cameo would definitely be good if we can possibly get that. So with all that information being dropped at this point, we just gotta wait until September 8th until the damn show drop. I got high hopes in this show. They've been talking about this show for about it been like a little minute. I ain't gonna lie, cause they was talking about the spinoff, you know, when SnowFall had first went off in 2023, but now 3 years later we finally got that SnowFall spinoff, man. So I am turned, I am hyped. So if you see any videos on my page, any playlists, click them, like, comment, subscribe. I'm Los, and I'm signing out.